We see them in the games, we see their highlights, we see their lowlights, but who's the brains behind the operation? Because we've talked to a lot of the players already, but now we get to talk to the people who are not playing, those behind the scenes. And we're starting with the coach, PnR. Thank you for joining me for this
Thanks
quick
for having me.
chat. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah. How have you been?
Very good, very good. Very stressed, I'll be honest. Lots going on this week, but it keeps the brain active.
Me too.
I gotta say, it's nice to hear another Scottish voice. We were talking a little bit before we went live. Not too many names out there that are Scottish. Whereabouts are you from?
I was born in Livingston, lived there for
Hmm.
about 10 years, moved to Edinburgh because closer for work, for my parents, closer for
Hmm.
school. So I've been in Edinburgh for the past 10 years of my life as well. So a bit half and half. But yeah, mainly
Right.
Edinburgh area.
Right, yeah, I'm more of a West Coast guy myself.
Oh, okay.
I have stayed in Edinburgh though, so I do know that it's not salt and vinegar. Salt and sauce is what you would ask for
Yep, that's
uh,
what I get.
over by your
Fish and chips,
parts.
salt and sauce.
Let's not start the debate because I don't think it would go very well. But no, I lived in Edinburgh for a year during studies, very central Edinburgh because it was in like student accommodation. So it's a
Yeah.
lovely looking city. I would say it looks better than Glasgow.
It does look better. When it comes down to like the life of stuff, I'll say being in Glasgow, I was there for like a week with my brother at one point because he had a flat there, and
Hmm.
it just is nonstop. You're sitting up. Sometimes it's 4 a.m. You're like, I want to get some food. Places are open. In Edinburgh, they all close at 2 or earlier, and then you can't get any food, and you're just like, okay, I'm in the house with nothing. So
Yeah, no,
yeah,
totally. I think the life, especially the nightlife of Glasgow, even though Sucky Hall Street isn't quite what it used to be, it's still got that up its sleeves. Although I remember
yeah,
when I was in Edinburgh, between my work, 'cause I worked in a nightclub, so I always walked back late, and I was always starving after a shift. I
yeah.
found this very special place, a 24/7 bakery, and I'd always go and
Oh,
get a macaroni pie after a shift, and that was splendid. That really made it for me.
I've got a corner shop that's 24/7. So right,
Mhm.
I moved into my flat literally a month ago today.
Right.
Moved into this flat, and I was like exploring the area a bit more because I haven't been in this bit of Edinburgh as much. And I was like, all right, 24-hour corner shop. That's all I need. So
Mm.
if it's 2 a.m. and I've had a rough day of scrims, pop down, walk over to the shops, go in, say hi to boss man, buy myself a whatever Monster Energy and some snacks and leave, and then yeah,
Yeah,
study the night away.
saying hi to Boss Man, getting a white monster. Now that's the life. That's the
Yeah,
cycle
pretty
of life
much,
right there.
pretty much. That's a uni life, more like.
Yeah. Are you studying? Are you working at the moment?
Yeah, I'm a student. I'm in my second year. I took a big gap year before going to uni. So yeah, I do real estate surveying at university.
Mm.
So
Okay.
everything to do with houses and homes, I guess, is my job. Um, so yeah, it's been a lot at times. There's also been times where there's been nothing, like exams soon for me already, coursework soon. Like it's just
Yeah.
how it is. So juggling all that with everything going on with OWCS and all the players and making sure they're at least happy and ready for matches is like
Hmm.
sometimes stressful, but we move on.
No, yeah, I can't imagine the stress. And at least I know now who to contact if I'm ever looking for a house and want to stay in
Oh yeah,
Scotland.
I can I can value it. I can teach you how to build one. I can't build one. I'll get people to come build one for you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, all that type of stuff. Mortgage, rent, the law behind it. That's all that I do in university is that type of stuff. So yeah,
Perfect, brilliant. Yeah, lovely making contacts on the quick chat. Love that.
Yeah,
Uh, Going back to the kind of like duality of your life, you daytime student, nighttime Overwatch coach. Is it better then for you on this team where there's not as many double blocks? There's a bit more of a relaxed vibe. Has that helped at all in kind of balancing that life?
yeah. Compared to last season or even like the Face It Master season with Quick 2 seasons ago,
Hmm.
I was a full time student doing like first year stuff, um, the whole time, and it was so stressful because I had a schedule that was a tiny bit more relaxing in the university side, but more demanding in the scrim side. It was double block every day, VODs, everything like that. And on top, I'm having to do coursework. I'm having to do tutorials, homework, study for stuff if I have exams, preparation like presentations for the classes. But like to be fair, as a life skill, it's really good because everything I do in Overwatch is like prep or a VOD or something like that. So when there's a big presentation, I remember I had like five of my uni friends were all doing this group presentation together. They're all super scared to go up and talk, and I'm like, I speak in front of people older than me every day, doing a presentation of stuff where they can make fun of me and laugh. Like, just go up and ramble on about whatever and waffle to the teacher, and he'll smile and give you a mark. So it's been really helpful in that sense. This year I've had a bit more uni, but a lot less in scrims just because of the style of the team, which has been really nice to have. I think I've had a bit more free time to do stuff. Single blocks are good. I don't have to do as many VODs because a lot of the players that are younger, they're also doing school and they have an even harder schedule from actual school days than university schedules. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a big difference, but also it's a lot nicer this year than before, like the previous seasons.
No, I can't agree with you enough on the transferable skills. I mean, you're constantly coaching, and that has so many translatable skills. I remember, like, I'd been casting for a while and doing like this broadcasting thing, and I went
Yeah,
to a job interview, and like I kind of looked at my hands. I was like, why am I this good at this? When did this happen?
yeah.
You just grow in your confidence, and it really can take you places. So no, I definitely agree with the transferable skills there. And in terms of like, obviously you were previously on Quick 2 seasons ago with the Face It Masters one. How did you end up on this team? Were you contacted about it? Did you hear about it? Like, how did you find yourself on this roster?
Um, I've been friends with Johan Streber, Skytor for Johan Streber for like 5 or 6 years, something like that. And Skytor I've known for 2, 3 ish, I think. Um, so afterwards, I've always messaged them. I'm in call with them at other points anyway. I keep in touch with all the players I kind of have coached or been friends with over the years. And I was like looking for options in OWCS. I was messaging head coach, different head coaches around, and I'm like, oh, do you need help with anything? Do you need an assistant? I'm always here. Some of them are like, thanks for the offer, I'll keep it in mind, but right now we're fine on our own, or like we don't have the money to spare to pay. I'm like, okay, I don't need money, but it's okay. And they're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. All these types of things. And then when I didn't get anything, Johan was like, hey, we're gonna make a team for Masters. It's gonna be more relaxing, more chill. You don't have to do much if you don't want to, but it'd be just good to have you there, someone that can like keep us in check, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, 100%. And then obviously you get the thing that's going to be in OWCS anyway, and then you have the dilemma of being like, okay, we've got a team that was meant to be super chill, super relaxed, and now you're in the best league in the region again, and you're like, okay, if we grind and try hard with these players, what will happen? Do they have the time to? They didn't sign up for that in the first place. There's like tons of things to start questioning at that point,
Yeah.
where you just sit there and go, I'll let the players decide. I'm there for them. They kindly enough brought me on. It's not like I made the team around anyone. It's not like I'm sitting there being the guy at the top of the this the this on the throne telling them what to do. So yeah, that I just was like, you guys can pick and choose. I'll be there and I'll help as much as I can. And yeah,
Okay, yeah, that kind of falls into line with like what I've kind of heard as people have described it. Um, the way that Johan put it to me, I've described it as it sounds like he was putting together the Chill Vengers essentially
yeah,
of
pretty much.
Overwatch and ended up in OWCS, which is so fun. And the team's kind of got a lot of traction online. A lot of people interested in this team that's in this highest level of competition, but also has this vibe of chill and obviously the Alcat game and the Hollywood match, like
Yeah.
really getting a lot of views essentially. So even though like it's a chill team, you're still there as a coach. You're not like really taking back seat. Oh, someone's turned out my lights. Don't worry, I'll fix that in a moment. So you're still like active as a coach, even though it's chill vibes.
Yeah, I think my main goal with this team was a lot of the players that had the chances, taken away from them to be in Masters. So I think Jonte was looking to be a third man on some team in Masters. Evil wasn't getting too many offers. I don't think. Same with Zero. I was like, these players are newer players. They're young players. They haven't had the experience with players like Skytor and Snowdrop and Yoham and Strebber and stuff who've had a lot of experience. So if we bring them in, work with them, if it's at the highest kind of form of gameplay in Overwatch, these players will improve really fast, even if they're not scrimming much, but they have these people around them that have been playing at that level. Like Jonte having Yoham is amazing. Just having Evil and Zero having a coach to speak to and vault them and be like, yo, you're playing good here, but this is really bad. Like you play a scrim against Checkmate and you go, oh, look at how Checkmate's playing. Look at how Dip plays from last season. I have this and that. I remember doing all of that type of stuff, helping them out. Where hopefully next year, when there's another Face It season, they can all be on a good Masters team and all perform really well and be like a really outstanding talent in that lower, thing that they at the time weren't really getting an opportunity to even be in.
Yeah, no, that is basically what I've kind of gotten talking to all the players, despite them all like signing up for like chill vibes, all of them individually, they're still looking to improve. All of them have
Yeah,
been talking about ways of improving and obviously utilizing the more seniored players' advice and comparing themselves when they go up against better teams and better players. So it's still really, really good for them. And a lot of them, well, at least a few of them have only kind of started fairly recently, and to
yeah,
start so recently and end up in OWCS, bit of a like very quick transition for them. So like the fact that they're actually like handling it quite well is really boding well for the rest of their career if they do want to continue like pursuing it, improving and continuing to do better in Overwatch.
yeah,
Um, in the previous roster of Quick 2 seasons ago, obviously you were there with the team that was in the Masters division and actually did win promotion, go into WCS.
yeah.
From the like beginning to like the end, what was that journey like on that roster?
I think at the start, because of how intense my uni schedule was, a lot of like during masters, like the Swiss stage. Sorry, there's going to be a police car outside soon.
Are you sure you're
Um,
not in Glasgow?
um, but during the Swiss stage, yeah, like a lot of the players were the main people doing stuff. Willis, Nat, Zydra, just the whole team in general, like Dip, Johan, all of them were putting in time, vodding together when I wasn't able to be there. But then when I did show up and I was doing live coaching and I was able to get a VOD going, they would also be really respectful and nice. And as soon as it went to the playoff section where we're going to go up against can't remember. It was like a Tama team and the Crocs, Frost Tails team or something like that. It was when I was more free as well, so it kind of lined up perfectly for me to be like, okay, let's find a comp, let's get really good at it. I remember we had a talk as a team, and it was like, what's our identity going to be? What are we going to put our time into? Okay, this is it. We're going in, and they worked so hard as a roster. Double blocks, VODs, everything like that. They listened to me. We talked out of scrims. We talked after scrims, even in the break, we'd speak for 30 minutes when we're supposed to have an hour break before the next block. They're like, well, we should just look over this real fast. I'm like, okay, we can. And they just worked so hard and it really paid off for them that, we found some cheese comps with a bit of Torb that was good, but we also got really good at Hazard. We had really good Diva comp. We had, really good all of that. And then it just set us up for OWCS. This new character comes out, Freya. The players are like, Zydra came, I think, and was just like, this character is going to be OP. Let me play it. And I just thought to myself, I was like, okay, he's confident. We're just going to play Freya at this point. We're going to let him have his hours on it. When a lot of other OWCS teams were a lot like, oh, Freya's good, but Sojourn's better on this map and, whatever. When Zydra was like, no, we're going to play Freya. We're going to figure out how to do it and we're going to win on it. And we did win a few good matches in OWCS at the time. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I just think that team was a lot of cooperation between me and the players. Like they had a lot of their own individual ideas. They watched a lot of their own VODs or Korea and stuff, and they would come to me, speak to me, or they'd speak to each other, and we'd speak about it during scrims, and it just worked really well. Um, So they improved not only individually but as like a group together. They understood the game way more, which was really rewarding to see as a coach.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine. I mean, that wasn't the easiest like Masters division either. Like there were some good teams in
No,
there that were challenging. I mean, TA were undefeated for most of it as well.
yeah,
So they were like really much the kind of the favorites to win it. But it was such a good journey watching it from like the side from the co-casting side of Quick, and I got to cover the actual promotion game where they got through to WCS. It was such a
yeah,
great journey. And the team really like felt the fruits of their labor.
yeah.
That's what I would say.
I'm really proud of that roster for like where all the players have gone. They're all really good. Like the only, like Zydra was unfortunately not picked up, which is a criminal thing. I think he was gonna be in NA, but because of the main support drought in NA, they needed to pull over European ones, and because of the import rules, they couldn't have Zydra. So he deserves to be in OWCS as well. He's such a good player. Dip and Willis both on PAPS. Natsuki in NA. Joham's obviously on our team, but he wanted to have a think of, as you said, make the Chill Avengers, have a bit more of a relaxing season this time. But like all those players have done so good for themselves, which is just so lovely to see. Like you always want to see the people you root for and coach do really well. So
No, yeah, I remember talking to Willis before the roster got picked up into the kind of vortex of what happened to them after Quick.
yeah,
But
the black
um,
hole.
yeah, the black hole. Before the black hole, talked to Willis and just kind of speculating on, improving enough to be able to be on stage. And if it's still in Stockholm, then obviously like getting to like a Stockholm stage,
Yeah,
like in Sweden, obviously Willis is Swedish, it would like mean a lot to him. So I think a lot of those, all of those players, if they continue to play as they did, they're definitely going to continue to find places in OWCS.
yeah,
Uh, Looking back a little bit further into your career, there's a team that you were a part of for quite a lot of time, the Mind Goblins. So,
yep.
for people that don't know who the Mind Goblins are, like, what was that vibe like? Who are they? And how long were you with the Mind Goblins?
To be fair, before we were even called Mind Goblin, we were a team that was Team Dominance that Skeng One made. That
Hmm.
was like Melon, Juzo, SXJ, Wax, Streber, Johan, right? And we went into Open Division at the time. This is, I think, 2021 or something like that. We went into Open Division and we were like, okay, we're gonna play like Reinhardt the whole time, and we played scrims. We were doing good. I remember there was like a four-dimension team, and it was just a bunch of friends putting time in and playing and having fun. And then when we got into contenders trials, Skeng had to choose between, I think it was O1 Esports with like Yizen and Quartz and stuff, or us. And he obviously picked them because they had ton. Quartz at the time was also up and coming talent in Saudi Arabia, and we just got to name our team. So we were like, okay, what's funny? Oh, we should do a funny name. And Juzo at the time was like, these nuts jokes are going everywhere. He hit us with a mind goblin joke, and I was like, no, that's a good name, mind goblin. We can go as mind goblin. And I remember making the logo of the little goblin poking out of the head, and then I sent it to our manager at the time, Sony, and I was like, what do you think of this? And she was like, let me clean it up for you. This is so bad. And I was like, okay. And, and she cleaned it up and made it look actually good and sent it in the chat, and we were just sold on it. And that
Uh-huh.
team was it was really like we explain it as like being in the hood is what people have called it as, because it's like you have nothing to play for. You have no expectations behind anything you do. You have a funny name, but you have tons of friends that all want to get high and do good in the game and be at playing at a high level. And it was just you show up, you scrim, you speak about stuff. It was just such a friendly environment. I'm working with Vision PB. He was the one that got me into coaching in the first place. Like, I was a 16-year-old, and he really taught me a lot during that time. I remember the amount of players we went through. We had Thematic, we had Shikari, we had like Sardonyx, we had Condi, we had uh, just so many players come in and out of the rosters. We were just people were like, "Oh, I want to go do this," and they got a better opportunity, or "Oh, I'm joining this team," and then it was like, "Okay, we have to bring other people in." But it was always like a hub. It was like a home for our friends, you know. There was just one big community of players, in my opinion,
Yeah,
and it was
that's a
just such
nice
a
way
fun.
to put it. Like a home for your friends, like this community where
Yeah.
like you could go out and if you got a better opportunity, but also like come back as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think even now, a lot of those players that we played with, obviously SXJ, I've not coached him in 3 years, but he's one of my best friends online. Johann Streber, after Mind Goblin, it was always just a check in on what they're doing. We all know each other. It's always like if we have a space for other people to be in and we want to involve the boys, we involve the boys. We had Tread on that roster. Tread goes in and he's in Gen G and he's doing so well. Like coaching Tread when he's younger than me. So I was 16, he was a 15-year-old, and we're coaching him at that time as well. And seeing where he goes to is insane. And kind of Sheer Cold after Mind Goblin was a bit of the same. It kind of just was a change of name because Reggie Gab came to me and was like, "We need someone to take over the Sheer Cold name," and I was like, "Okay, we'll do that."
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah, because it was
so
like sheer cold and occasionally chill masters as well, right?
yeah, yeah. Chill Masters for like CGL and stuff, and even in CGL we had like Ice Gnome and everything, who's on VP.
Hmm.
During Sheer Cold, it was like still a big family group of people. We had Jaru, NKZ, Zodiel, William with a one, like Danish Will. Um, Ilp, like so many players have just come and gone, and keep in touch with all of them. Send them messages, keep up with them. So it's being around. I feel like I'm old, but I'm only 20. I'm 20 years old, and I've been in the scene for like 6 years or 5 years coaching, 6 years with 1 year like playing, and I just feel ancient looking at these other players. I'm like, oh, I'm an old man when I'm not. I'm the same age. I'm younger than like some of the best players in our region by a long time. But yeah,
Exactly. I mean, at the age of 20, like even though like the joke is that is when you reach unk status, you're
yeah.
still you're still young. You've got your 20s ahead of you, so like you've got plenty of time. And it's funny to imagine you putting together the Mind Goblin logo. You've got a little bit of
Oh,
like branding experience.
yeah.
But before we delve into that more, I need to ask who made something else because I was scrolling the Twitter and I think I saw a roster reveal, and I need to ask you about this because it's quite the particular vibe. Um,
Oh, yeah.
so
See,
what's going on here?
so like always, this is wow, this is special. Okay, so we worked on this. It was, I think, Vision PB had he was planning on doing like streaming stuff, and he had his
Mhm.
OBS open, and he wanted to make like an opening screen, and he just started adding photos of people. And we were all in the call. We start joining. It's like find people, find this, find that. I remember I went on Snapchat and putting the bald filter on our manager Sony. I'm putting the bald filter on Condi. Tricky Turtle, we edit a Roadhog hook onto because he was a Roadhog player. We edit Streber's face on stuff. Like we thought Melon looked like Elon Musk, so we thought that was funny as well. We put Wex at force. It was just we're all sitting there putting ideas, laughing. Just I remember Streber went on to get the text of like the PnR and the Condi and the Tricky Turtle. It just went onto this website that was like free text creation thing, and just started typing stuff and being like, "Do you want this? Do you want that?" I was like, "Yeah." Like my thing is cut off. My photo, but it's me looking like Walter White, and above it just
Uh-huh.
says, "We need to cook Jesse," and then I
Yeah.
just screenshot it, sent it to them. But yeah, like making this was a bit of a fever dream. It's just like something that you do at 1 a.m. after school in during summer. You're sitting there, you're like, "Oh, we need a roster reveal. Let's do
Mhm.
something funny," and you just put this shit together and post it, and everyone's just like, "Wow, okay,
It's stuff like this that I like to imagine. You know how we like go into caves and we say paintings from
yeah,
cavemen. I like to imagine people in the future just coming across this and needing to work together to think what is happening. But that's the sort of vibe that I've always seen from it. There we go. Yeah, we need to
yeah."
cook Jesse. There you go. You don't look too bad bald, actually. I think you could rock it if you do go
My
bald.
dad's bald, so if I get the beard or goatee, I'll probably be fine.
Yeah, I'm expecting in my future as well. I've got like a insane widow's peak, so I'm expecting it. I mean, having a beard has a safety net, right? It's like at least I have a beard if I
Yeah,
do go bald.
that's what the whole thing is. You want to have a beard if you're going bald. My dad has a big grey beard and he's bald and he looks 50, but he looks fine because of it. Yeah. I think the funniest
So
thing about this graphic, sorry, is that
yeah.
we have Yoham in that graphic, but he wasn't on our team. There's a bald Yoham in between Vision, Melon, Wex, and the Mind Goblin logo that you'll see, like above Vision PB. You'll
Oh
see
yeah.
just Yoham doing this, and that's a photo that I made. And he wasn't on the team, but I was like, we need to have bald Yoham in there for the fun because he
That's
was
so
just still
funny.
a really good friend with us. So yeah,
So yeah, three members of the team are there, yeah, because you've got Strebor, Johan, and yourself.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. That is funny. So obviously, Mind Goblin a big part of like where you could have like learned to coach and you did a lot of your development. Was that your actual first team? What was your first team? Why did you like get into coaching in the first place?
So I was a player. I played with Strebber, SXJ, and Condi
Hmm.
as an off tank player in OW1, like Overwatch 1. And I think that was my first team that I took serious because I had reached, I was like 4.4K in ranked, which was, it wasn't as high as all the people going like 4.6, 4.7, but it was good enough to be in like tier 3, as they called it, or like a bit below that. And I remember playing with a team, I can't even remember the name of it now, but I was playing with them. And then at one point, NKZ, funnily enough, I brought this up with him. He specced one of our scrims, and we were really bad. And at the time, he was on the up and coming in contenders. He was like on sheer cold, and they were getting top 4 all the time. And he was friends with Simon from ages ago. And I remember NKZ messaged Simon, "What the fuck is your off tank doing? He looks so bad." And I was like a 14-year-old kid just trying to grind the game. I was like, "Oh my god, this guy who's so good came and spec'd me and thinks I'm shit. What am I gonna do?" I lost all confidence. I was scrimming against weak. I was scrimming against other teams that were like doing really well, and I was just getting shit on. And I was like, "Oh my god, I feel so bad." And I remember at one point I said to like Strebber and Simon, I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think I can play anymore. I've got too much school." I was doing my Nat 5s I thought were important. I was like I was like, "Oh, okay, I can't play. I've got to study for my exams." And then I was like, "You know what? I'll become a coach because it's less work." And it was not less work. It was way more. Um, but it came all full circle when I was able to sit there and have NKZ on my team and be like, "No, you're bad. I'm the coach. You're shit. Here's what you could do better." And I remember telling him that story, and he was like, "I don't even remember saying that to you." And I'm like, "It's always stuck in my
That's so
head."
funny. That's so
So yeah.
funny. It's kind of like a Wanda and Thanos.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I
don't
don't
even
even
know
know
who
who
you are. I'm like,
you
"You did this to me. You're the reason I'm one of the coach I am." He's like, "Okay, I mean, fair enough if you like it." But
are.
I enjoy coaching more than playing. I think I realized that I really didn't
Hmm.
enjoy the when I was playing, it was queuing up for ranked all the time. I didn't enjoy the fact that I could go in, some games would be a loss, and someone would type to you and flame you and stuff. Like that really got to me as like a young 14-year-old at the time. But as a coach, it was more like all the stuff I do outside of the game is writing stuff down to flame players. So I'm like, it's great. It's the opposite. But yeah, no, I enjoyed like the kind of learning aspect of it more and becoming
Yeah.
kind of I guess I'm like a master in the trade of like understanding more than having the mechanics. I'm still really
Hmm.
good. I'll still play for some tournaments if they want me to. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
You've still got hands, is what you're saying.
yeah, yeah.
It's not all theory. There's still some
They tell
practical
me
left in there.
Straber and Johan tell me I've lost the sauce sometimes, and I'm like, no, I haven't. I'm still here. Like, put me in a
Mhm.
Seta right now, and then I'd probably lose, but it'd be close.
Yeah, no, it's easier for it's easier to visualize how like a player would like see and track their like improvement.
Yeah,
Obviously, like with how they're physically playing. For a coach, how do you track your improvement? Obviously, it's harder. It's kind of more theoretical. Is it more about like how far you're able to like push players or like improve players and teams?
it's probably I think it's a mix of like results and also like if you're able to see a meta and understand like the concepts, like the core stuff behind it pretty fast, like pretty immediately,
Hmm.
odds are you're a fairly good coach. I think a lot of Overwatch is like opinionated, like tons of people focus on certain aspects, whether it's in game or mental aspects or just individual mechanic stuff. Like the game is how you see it. I don't think there's a specific way that is better than everything else. I think people have pushed for so long that like, oh, you need to play like the Koreans with having these great angles on this side and this and that and this. But then you go and watch Alcad, and Alcad are just TPing about a hit scan with their diva killing everyone, and you're like, they know how to play this comp. They have good movements. They know when to swing. They know how to use their TPs. They have TP plays. They use good ults. Like all of their fundamentals on that comp is so good. Um, and I think it just like you can play whatever. So I think as a coach, it's results based. I think you'll have players that you need to recognize. Okay, these guys will not be able to play dive for shit. If I have Willis on my team last year, he was like, no, I can play Winston. I'm like, yeah, you can, but not with 2 weeks to go before an official. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a Winston meta. We'll play other stuff around it. You have to understand that as like a coach. I think with Mind Goblin, it was understanding that we couldn't play Winston, we couldn't play Orisa Sig. We had a Ryan guy who was funny and pinning about, and a Diva guy who just wanted to kill everyone. And then Yoham and Streber were just really good at playing their lives on these characters. And it was like, okay, understand that, we play it, and we get the result. I think my main issue that I've had as a coach is I like working with new talent. I like working with I work Zodial, Tread, um, even Jonte now and Evil and everything like that. Like these are young, talented players that haven't been around long. And when I work with them, I wouldn't say it's all because of me because they work really hard, but they really, improve a whole bunch and then they go higher than even me. And what my thing is as a coach is it's like I think I could be doing the jobs of the coaches higher than me, but I'm not able to give myself that opportunity without going around and talking to them and asking, "Oh, have I? Is my camera frozen?"
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. It must just be me on my right. Um, so yeah, I like the. I just think to myself, like I really respect every coach in OWCS. Smash, the Renegat, Christopher, all these types of coaches that all do stuff in OWCS, but they've been there for so long and they've always been on these types of teams. And I feel like it's so hard as a coach to be in the point where you can prove to yourself that it's like I can coach a top 4 team. Like
Yeah.
the improvement is being like I went from having a team that was this thingy and now they're up to OWCS level. What can I do to improve past this point? Well, I need to coach players that are getting top 4 placements and make it where they're doing better. And if you can't do that, it's like hard to say that you've improved a lot. Because like I feel like I've gotten to a point now where I'm at a bit of a roadblock in the sense of like I need to be the one coaching these Peps rosters or Gen G or anything like that, just to prove to myself that I'm getting better.
Yeah. No, that's the hard part, right? When like you feel like you've got the skill capable of it. It's just actually like getting the opportunity to prove it, right? And to actually like be in that position and be able to showcase the skill that you know you have. It's a bit difficult, yeah, when there's maybe a roadblock, maybe a bit of a glass ceiling when you're dealing
Yeah.
with people who have been coaches for so long on rosters that have been highest level, and it's just about proving that like you can hang at that level and finding opportunities. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not an easy job, but I think y- with the OWCS like promotion roster, like that was probably like the best showcase so far from this Masters team that came up and actually had a really strong performance in OWCS. So now it's, I think, like as you said, like now maybe an OWCS team and pushing them to be a top 4 team.
Yeah. I think that roster was like really rewarding because they went from being players that were a bit more unknown or they weren't as respected by the players a lot better and now they
Mhm.
are respected and they're way more known. I think the other roster that I think was I'm really proud of is like Sheer Cold. I think they did something fairly similar, in the sense of like working their way up to go into. At that time, it was still like it was kind of like a promo relegation thing as well, but it was like a big Swiss stage, beating All Yeah at the time, who were kind of gatekeeping anyone from getting into like the stage one, stage two type things. I remember doing all that and working really hard with those players as well, and just getting them far. And I think the whole thing behind it is like, a lot of the coaches, they have players that are already know a lot of the fundamentals, are already really good, so they can teach them more complex stuff. When I feel like what my job is right now with a lot of the players I'm getting is like having to build the foundations, and then when they have these foundations as a player and they're good enough and they go higher, that the other coaches are using the foundations to put their building blocks to build a big building.
Yeah.
um and like, I want to build a building of my own. I want to have a massive skyscraper. But it's rough. I feel like with those teams, I started building a small house as I was
Uh-huh.
pushing them forward, which was really like rewarding. I think I made myself a little bungalow,
Mhm.
with those guys,
But
which
but
was
now it's
nice.
time for PnR Tower. That's what we need to
Yeah,
see.
yeah. I want to make a big tower. I want to have a big team. I want them to go far. I want people to look at them and be like, these are the best players because they've worked hard. They have a good coach. They've stuck together. All that type of stuff. And the team I'm on now is great because I can help these players right now build the building blocks they need, and then instead of them getting poached into better teams that need players, I can then use them with those building blocks to start making my own. You know, so Jonte, as I said, working so hard, really, he's really improved like this whole time. If he gets to a point where I'm like, okay, he is now at the level as Johan in some sort of way, we can start building with him. It's just great to see. So I've kind of changed the approach in a way, I guess, of making it where I'm like, no, these are my players now, and I'm gonna make them have the
Uh-huh.
big tall building. So yeah,
No, I totally agree, and not for Overwatch, but in like my actual day job, I've just been like supervising another team, like one of their supervisors left, and it's very much of like a coaching situation. So what I was like, well, I'm here. I want to help, just continue to build like the foundation, as you said. Like there's this kind of like position for them to like stand on so that they're a bit higher up for when they start going for more like you
yeah,
know like higher level like harder to grasp concepts. So I definitely get that idea, and I think it's the right way to go about it. And you sound like quite curious as well, so like compared to like coaches that are like, no, it has to be the career style, no, it has to be this. But maybe a bit more of a shut off mindset. You seem to be quite curious about the players themselves and be like, how do we, as this team, actually like utilize them all correctly? Which I think is the right way to go. Um,
yeah.
I haven't asked this. PNR, is that an acronym? Is this a shortened word? What does PNR actually mean?
So this story's not as exciting as it sounds. I was
Okay.
13 watching XQC play ranked.
Uh-huh.
My name before was Johnny4444. My name isn't
Okay.
Johnny. I don't know why I had four fours. And I was looking at my keyboard and I was like, okay, I need to make a name. I'm gonna have it be three letters, and it's just gonna be snappy. I saw P, N, and R are like symmetrically. They make like a V off of each other. I went,
Okay.
that'll work. Press them with capital P, lowercase n, capital R. I said, this looks good. I was 13. Little did I know, years later, people would call me Peener. They'd call me Peen. They'd call me Peeny. They'd call me whatever. I'm like, okay, I didn't know this is what the repercussions were gonna be. Funnily enough, though, the PNR does come up everywhere. I would say my postcode, but I'm not going to.
Okay. I would
But
hold off on that one.
you know, whether it's like a license plate to a car, for some reason it has some type of like PN or NR or something in it.
Yeah.
Just these types of letters are now just showing up everywhere whenever I go. Like,
Mhm.
that's just funny to me.
That's the universe
So yeah.
calling to you. I'll be honest, even before I asked that, I was like, I hope he doesn't say it was just PnR shortened.
No, no,
Uh,
no.
but that's the life you have to live with now.
Yeah.
I talked to Skytar at the start of the week. Very little about Overwatch, mostly about Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah.
And
He
he
told
actually,
me.
yeah, he brought you up. So, do you play D&D? Do you run D&D?
So I played for a while. I just listened to shows, podcasts, things like that. Right. I was really interested. Couldn't find a group of people that wanted to play it.
Uh huh.
It's really hard. I was trying to play online. The online groups don't really go as well. They're a lot harder to run unless
Yeah.
you're forcing your close friends to do it. But it's hard to like force people into this. And then when I went to university, I was like, they probably have a club. They definitely have a club.
Hmm.
So I went along. I was like, oh okay, they do. Signed up, got into a group of about six other guys that they made, and was a player for the whole of last year. And then I
Hmm.
said to our DM, I was like, "How long have you been DMing?" And he was like, "Oh, I've not really played. I've only ever been a DM." And I was like, "Well, I want to be a DM and run my own campaign. So if you want to have a break for a while, um, I'm fine to take over." And he was like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So I have like six friends from university, from year my year to up to, even some of them are post grad. They're even working now. They still come and play because the university is really good for the club.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I'm like 5 sessions into my campaign. They just finished their like first little arc, and yeah, it's like a pirating campaign. They've set out on the ocean now with their ship that they had made. Um,
Nice.
and yeah, I know one of the players. There's also a Thursday game that they're doing that I'm going along to now, and I've just made a level
Mhm.
one blood hunter. So
Oh,
looking
good.
forward to playing that. But yeah,
That's nice.
I'm just really into like the role play games, kind of improv, kind of cool fighting, brain
Yeah.
thought, everything. And one
No,
of the
yeah.
guys, yeah, he has like the battle maps, and he has little minis, and he has all that type of shit.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
That's the stuff.
so
That's the stuff.
he brings all
Um,
that in.
no, yeah, I can't agree more. Like the improv just feels so good, and as someone who like started like DMing 5 years ago, we've got a campaign that's going on for like 5, almost 6 years now, which is
What
crazy.
level are they?
They're level 11. We only play once a month.
Okay.
There's
Oh,
eight
okay,
of
yeah,
us, so it's 8 adults trying to schedule times when they're free.
yeah,
It's not
that's
super
hard.
great. They're in the Feywild right now. Next session, I think, is actually next Sunday, and we have one booked on the 26th of this month as well. So we actually have 2 sessions this month, which is really
That's
fun. We
big.
usually only get one. Um, but yes, it's so fun to play D&D, and running D&D, you gain so many skills. And
Yeah,
like it's funny because I started casting because someone just asked, "Oh, do you want to cast this game?" I was like, sure, okay." And I was just natural at it because I'd been DMing for a couple years anyway. It's
yeah,
already improv conversation. That's just what casting was, with a bit more of a point of reacting to something that's happening. And no, I love D&D. I started playing finally, by the way. I wish someone would come up to me and say, "Hey, I want to DM. Do you want to break for a bit?" Um, no, I actually don't. I love DMing, but it's a Starfinder campaign, so it's
oh yeah,
actually sci-fi, and I'm playing an otter folk um, envoy who wears like a Hawaiian shirt and cargo shorts. He's got a sun
just the
hat.
chillest
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, just and he's all about just swindling. So he's got high charisma, pretty much low everything else, and
Yeah,
he's all about just like money. Like he just thinks he's basically religious about money. And we started that campaign last week, and that's going to be fun to actually get my hands on actually being a player for a bit.
yeah.
But yeah, I think you can tell. Like I've got all the books there,
I
5e
see. I
and
see. Yeah,
2024. I have more books over there that don't fit up there, so I need a new shelf for it. It just runs in my blood because like I was years ago, I was like, I kind of want to play D&D, but I don't know. Is there any good podcasts? I asked a friend. He was like, well, there's this Critical Role thing you could watch. I was like,
yep.
well, I have to watch it at the beginning then, because like I can't watch midway through.
So
And
start
I watched
from campaign one. Yeah,
I watched all of campaign one, all of campaign two. I got too busy around campaign three, so I've not actually seen campaign three. But thankfully, I got really lucky that all my close friends were down to play a one shot, and then they were like, "Wait, we actually all really like this." So all my
yeah,
close friends, we actually play. We have to do it online because like they're all over the place, but
Yeah, yeah.
There's nothing like it. How are you finding DMing then? So you said you're 5 sessions in.
Um, I really enjoy it because I think what I like is having a mix of like having strong players. My players, I leveled them up quite fast. They were level like 2 to start, and in
Hmm.
5 sessions they're level 5. But I've told them now, I'm like, okay, you're level 5 now. We're not leveling for a long time now. Like I just wanted it to make it where they have these quick kind of story arcs as they improve and get better at stuff and everything, and make them quite strong, and then push them out and be like, okay, you guys are now in this open big world. And the main issue I've had is like so many ideas. Just putting them to something, I'll be sitting there and I'm like, okay, they're going to this island, and this island is going to be run by a pirate lord that does this and this and this. And I'm like, oh, but would he do that? Okay, and then I'm like, well, this island has, and it's just so many things that stack on top of each other that I now have. Like, I have a Discord channel where I plan everything, right?
Yeah.
Um, and literally one of them is just voices I can do, and it's just a list of voices. And then another one is notes about players, and I have Jack, and then there's tons of bullet points, and then I have to put the bullet points into separate little things to talk about his backstory
Uh-huh.
and other things like that. And it's like, when do I want to take in the fact that this warlock has his patron and his patron's doing this and that? Like,
Hmm.
it's very much, I enjoy it because it's my own, but I also find it funny because I can sit there and give it to them and they can be like, we don't care, we're doing this instead. And I go, okay, time for me to fully make this up on the spot. And then when the session's done, I'll have to go home and be like, what just happened? Okay, did I say anything that I would need to note down for
Yeah.
the next time? So it's just like, I'm just so used to having these types of like jobs, I guess, where you prep tons of shit and then
Yeah.
it could just all be thrown against the wall. And at that point, you have to be like, okay, I have to fix this in some way or make it work
Mhm.
for them or make it where they enjoy it as much as possible. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah,
there's no better feeling as a DM than when a session is like 90% improvised, and then they're like, "I can't believe you prepared that. That was so good. How did you do that?" And I was like,
you're like,
"I'm not
because
telling you. I'm not telling you. I made it all up, but that was great."
I, 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 I I did like a one shot with the players, and it was like a really high level one shot for like, I think we did for like 8 to 9 hours, um, and they were all level 15, and it was like 6 pirate captains all coming to the same area to have a meeting about this big like force, um, and then tons of shit went bad, and it became they had to deal with this big leviathan kraken, this like sorcerer guy who was fucking about everything and was really strong as well, and I was like, okay, the lore behind it is these guys are all legendary pirates that have been around for a while. So now it's like I killed 2 of their players in the one shot, and I'm like, well, your characters are strong enough. Where like, if you want your player character from the one shot to be your patron, it can be. And one of them's like, can I do that? Can I really do that? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, okay, blah 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 blah. So now one of them's like the warlock patron for the player, and the other one was like, yeah, when I die, I want myself to be like a prophet and my religion spreads everywhere. And I'm like, okay, there's now a cult running about for this person's player. I was sitting there and I was like, oh, you had a rival in the one shot, blah 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 blah. What do you think they were up to? What did you do? And he's like, I killed my rival, blah 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 blah. And then in the most recent session, I was like, oh, insight check this person that you're doing this big rebellion on this island with, and it was like this person 10 years ago was under this pirate crew of this person who was the rival of your guy before, and he was like, oh okay, blah, blah, just adding it all together where they feel like what they've done in the world actually has like meaning and
Yeah.
consequences, or
Mhm.
cool things that can happen for them.
Yeah, there's nothing better than like having the players feel like they actually have like influenced the world.
Yeah,
Obviously, with the campaign I run, it's a bit more of like a slower one. So we're on like session. Oh, actually, funnily enough, we're session 69 is the next session.
nice.
Um, so basically, none of them are going to watch this. Uh, I
Yeah,
won't
we
do
do
any
hope.
spoilers, but basically, then the next session, they're in the Feywild. What they haven't realized is that time's going faster in the world. So there's going to be a time skip in the world where the
Yeah,
world experienced it, like have not having the players for a bit. So they're going to go back to the world and be like, "Oh, okay, like our actions were like what we were doing was like good, and without us, like people have lost like a degree of hope and things like that. So the next arc for them is going to be a lot more like pick and choose sandbox than it has been. I wouldn't say like we do a
Yeah.
railroad campaign, more to like there is a story and their like power is like how they like go about that story. Whereas the
Mm.
next arc is going to be very much the world is in a bit of turmoil. This is happening, this is happening, this is happening. You need to get these things as well. What do you do? And it's
Yeah.
going to be very much like an open thing. And we're doing a one shot in Stockholm while we're all over for WCS, so the week after WCS. And what I've decided is I'm going to get them all at the table and be like, okay, before you inhabit the characters you've made, you're going to inhabit the gods of this world. And one by
Yeah.
one, they all get to add lore to the world that we're about to play in. So if we have to say yes and. So if they say that clouds are made of knives, clouds are made of knives, and maybe it
Yeah.
rains blades, you know? And
Yep.
that's the world that they're about to play in. And I get to like improv a whole story based off of that once they're all done. And I'm really looking forward to that because I think that's quite unique.
They're gonna make hell. They're gonna make Satan's
Yeah.
spawn. You've given like this is the thing. You give players a choice to do stuff, and they're gonna
Mhm,
try to figure out a way to fuck you as hard as they can. Like I said
mhm,
to one of my players, warlocks can do like glyph of warding and stuff, right? And he was
mhm.
doing the whole thing, and he was like, "I'm going to make a nuke," and I'm like, "Okay, talk to me about this because I don't want you to pull it out and be like." Here's this thing that does 15,000 damage, and I go, no, you can't do that. I'm like, how can I make it where you have fun doing this and make
Uh-huh.
it where it works? So I had to change my whole session that I planned like 3 days before because he was like, I'm gonna do this, and I'm like, okay, not to spoil the session, but odds are I would want you to use it like this, and it would have a lot of value doing this. And he's like, that works for me, great. So I had to find like a whole like a whole like what's it called kind of deal with him to be like, oh, don't do 15,000 points of damage and kill
Yeah.
everyone and immediately die everywhere.
Yeah.
And he was like,
Have your
okay,
fun, but don't ruin the fun of everyone else, you know?
yeah. But for he's running a campaign on the Thursday, the one that I made the Blood Hunter for, and I was like,
Mhm.
you know, you're not a problem player, but you like testing my limits, so I'm gonna make a character that tests your limits. And I've just made like a really edgy, low charisma Blood Hunter that just wants to kill like creatures and monsters and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And it's just like the edgiest, like most generic kind of like bad person, I guess.
Yeah.
Just in this hunters guild, you know, and I'm just like, I'm gonna do some bad stuff. Yeah, okay, it's fun.
Yeah, let's see how you like it,
Yeah,
essentially. Before we end up talking for another hour just purely about D&D,
yeah.
unfortunately, I think it's time to wrap things up. So I've been asking this question to everybody, and now it's time for a coach's perspective. So I guess if you had to coach and put together an EMEA super team, what players from EMEA would you choose and for what role?
So $1 billion, I own it. I can pay any player what I want. Okay.
Yes.
Let's see. Who am I starting with? Uh, I'll start with tank. What tank would I want? I'm not gonna go with Koreans. I think most people would go with like Koreans and like fight their way out. I'm gonna go with like
Yeah, you have to stay in
EUNA.
yeah, you have to stay in EMEA, yeah.
Okay, okay. Um, I'm taking I'm taking Ziad. He's
Mm,
that's my first tank. I'm taking two tanks. Okay, I'm getting a 6 man roster.
mhm.
First one Ziad. Second one probably something like an Ice Gnome. I think. I think
Okay.
Ziad Ice Gnome. Even though they're both off tanks, I think Ziad Diva goes insane and Ice plays the Hazard. He plays the Ram. He plays the Zarya. He plays all that type of stuff. So I'm like, okay, those two
Mhm.
probably good.
I like that, I
Um,
like that.
I'm taking for DPS. You have to probably go with Kevster. I think everyone's picking Kevin.
Yeah, 100% pick rate so far, yep.
Yeah, I think everyone's picking Kevster because who wouldn't want Kevster? You know,
Mhm.
give him a good sum of money. I think you probably want to round it off with some form of. Oh, I don't know. Do I want like a sim guy and then have Kevster be like the carry dude, or would I want like a hard hit scan and have Kevster 1v9 on Tracer? because I'm going between having like a checkmate and just having this like really weird where like they both are really flexible, can play whatever, or going
Yeah.
with like a Lubda or like a Corpse and having like a really good kind of hit scanny guy. So I'll
Hmm.
go. Actually, it's a 7-man roster. I could get two. You know what? I'm getting checkmate for the sim TPs, and I'm gonna take Lubda as well. So I'm building Alcad with Kevster right now and Icecanom, and then supports. I'm going with just think about the top teams.
Hmm. People have had some tricky choices with the supports because a lot of them are imports in EMEA at the moment.
Yeah, I can't like. Does Landon count? I don't know, maybe, but
We've
probably not.
decided Landon doesn't count. Someone did choose
Okay.
Landon. I forget which one it was. So we're letting that happen because it slipped. I forgot.
I'm getting. I have to go with like Gala then. I think Gala's really flexible Lucio player. And probably if I'm getting one of the top teams, it'd have to be Funny Astro. But like, I think having Gala Funny Astro is troll. So it would have to be from one of the lower teams. But then I can't get Violet because he's Korean. Um,
Hmm.
I'm trying to think who would fit well. Who would fit well on this team? You know what? You go back to the Gala Canal. Get Canal in. Those two used to play together ages ago. I feel like they'd work again. So team is Ziad Iceganom, Kevster, Checkmate, Lubda, Gala Canal. That's my team.
Okay, there we go. Team set in stone, and shockingly, to everyone's total surprise for sure, Kevstar still has the 100% pick rate. But no, that's a good one, and of course you get to actually choose that. And there's some text there as we kind of
Yeah, yeah,
go
oh
over it.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we're
That's
going
a
to have
good
a
team.
yeah, we're gonna have maybe like a Twitter post or something where like everyone on the team gets to vote for someone else's team to see maybe who's got like the most like popular team or something. We'll
Yeah.
work something out. We'll work something out. But it's been great chatting. I feel like we could probably have talked for like
A
probably
long
another
time.
hour. Yeah, for sure. But alas, I will let you get to your day. I've got a much lower level scrim to attend in 3 minutes as well,
Good luck.
and somehow eat dinner in between that time as well.
Well, you've got that.
We got it, yeah, pot noodle or something. But alas, we won't be on until Monday. Where of course we're going to continue with the back end staff, the ones that really run things. We'll be talking to the
The true
manager,
heroes.
the true heroes, yes. And Terry's on Monday. And then on Wednesday, we also have our final one, name slipping me in the moment. But alas, that is us. Great chat. Is there anything we didn't talk about today that you'd like to bring up?
No, I think we covered everything. I think we
Yes.
did a long session.
Yes, we did. This was good. We'll need to do it again for sure. But thank you everyone for watching. Keep up to date with Quick Esports on the Twitter, and of course on the actual official matches. This on this Twitch as well. We will do co-streams as well, so keep an eye out for that. And we will see you next Monday. So don't forget to laugh loud and love yourself, folks. Good night.